Hello and welcome to Universal Interiors. I am Uni, and the interior that we are focusing on today is the food interior inside your body. So with me, excuse me, with me is Wendy Gordon, dietitian at Emmanuel Nursing Home.
Hi.
And Wendy, we brought some things to the table, and I just want to know your thoughts, your opinions, because there's a lot of opinions and a lot of ideas, you know. You are 80% raw food in your diet.
Yes.
So she's a big, you know, the doctors, they all say, eat your veggies, eat your fruits. I just want to pick your brain a little bit and see how you feel, what your thoughts are. So let's start out with the veggies.
Okay.
Give some ideas or some benefits that we don't really know about.
Sure. Well, when you were talking about eating raw foods, the way that I like to explain and do some consultation with people when they talk with me about foods is raw foods, meaning that I recommend and encourage people to eat food as close to the way as God made it as possible. So before man gets a hold of it. That's how you're going to get the maximum benefit out of any food that you eat. So, for instance, the things that you brought here on the plate with the with the broccoli and the carrots and the tomato, that's completely fresh from the garden. So you're being able to get the benefits, all natural, straight from all of the nutrients that were intended to be mixed together to get the maximum potential in your body. That's what raw food is. Raw food is not heating it, not doing anything to it, not cooking it, not freezing it, just eating it right from the garden to your food.
Question. How important is organic to you? Sometimes people say, oh, it's organic, it's just another way of getting people's money. How do you feel about organic versus just your regular produce?
Right. That's a great question, and there is a lot more that is coming out to be made aware of organic versus not organic. And I am very much an advocate of organic foods because of the way that they grow it. There is so much herbicides, pesticides, chemicals that are being placed in the soil, in the foods. GMO is another big thing that is going on right now, which is genetically modified, so that it's, again, man-made combinations of interconnecting foods that have never been made before. They don't know what the outcome is going to be. So I am a huge advocate of organic. They've done tests and studies on the benefits and the mineral and vitamin content. It's much greater in organic foods versus not.
And then the little badge that says USDA certified is important to look at too, right?
Yeah,
right.
It has to be on there for it to be able to know it's organic.
Sometimes the fruit can look a little bit, this is an organic orange, and it looks a little bit less plump.
Right.
Talk about that for a minute.
Okay. A lot of times that's a really good question too, because the difference between any kind of these fruits that are organic, they're not sprayed with colors, which a lot of the oranges, grapefruits, lemons, a lot of the fruits and vegetables, what they do is they spray it with colors to make it look more appealing and appetizing. Apples are one of the most pesticide wax-covered fruits there is. So there's also a list that's called the Dirty Dozen, which is a list that's out there that says if you're only going to pick and choose which foods to eat organically, at least stay away from the 12 Dirty Dozen. Apples is one of them.
Wow.
Because of the waxes that they put on it and the herbicides and pesticides to make it so that there's no holes and they make it look more appealing, but it's not more appealing for your body.
It doesn't give the correct nutrients.
Exactly.
Wow, where can you get that Dirty Dozen?
All you have to do is Google it. Google it online.
Very cool.
Yep.
Okay, nuts. Very amazing for you, right?
Very, very good. Nuts get a bad rap because a lot of times people equate nuts with being high in fat, which they are high in fat, but there's such a big difference. What people have to understand is that there's different kinds of fats, and nuts are a heart-healthy fat. Almonds, walnuts are two of the best nuts to eat, and they can literally lower your cholesterol, lower your LDLs, which I call it as your loser cholesterol to help people remember that it's the bad, and raise your HDLs, which is the hero cholesterol. So nuts are very good.
Very interesting. How important is water? In your diet, how
Right.
important is water?
Water is actually something that I have a whole lecture on, just water. People do not drink enough water. You can actually have high blood pressure just from being dehydrated. There are so many things that happen when you do not have enough water in your body. Every single system, every organ, all of our cells need water to function at maximum capacity. So water is essential.
So water versus a Coca-Cola?
Yeah, there's not even a
Winner?
comparison.
All right. Okay, sea salt versus regular salt.
Right. Yep. There's benefits to sea salt in that. Again, when I was talking about anytime you can eat a product, buy a product that has been less processed, gone through manufacturing, bleach, things like that, you're going to get more of, with sea salt, the trace minerals and elements and vitamins that you get naturally.
Which right away takes this guy right out.
Right.
Puts him in the Coke pile.
Yep.
All right. Honey
Okay.
or stevia or versus sugar.
Okay.
What are your thoughts?
That is a great topic, and I was just talking to someone recently about stevia, and that is a sugar that I highly recommend. It's naturally from a plant in Paraguay, and what is so great about stevia is that it does not raise your blood sugar, which now with what we're talking about in America with diabetes being an epidemic, we really have to look at the whole sugar factor and where we are at in America with that.
Sure.
So honey is a great alternative also. The neat thing about honey is that if you can get honey that's locally grown, we have many more people that are affected by allergies now. And so what honey does is, because they obviously are getting their nectar from the flowers that are around you, pollens come from these things. So if you're eating honey that's locally grown,
Sure.
you become less susceptible to allergies.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so that's a neat thing about honey.
Wow. Okay. Canned veggies versus whole.
Raw, okay.
Raw.
Definitely there's a process in the way you want to look at getting your maximum benefits of nutrition. Raw is going to be the best.
Sure.
Completely eating it raw, not doing anything to it. The next is going to be steaming, so that you just lightly cook them so that you still have the vitamins, enzymes, which is really important.
Yes.
And then you want to go to frozen is next, because they're just blanched, and then you still could get some vitamins and nutrients. Seriously, at this point, you are getting absolutely no nutrition at this point, because they've been boiled, they've been gone through. And the other thing is that in a lot of these, people aren't aware, but if you look at the sodium and sugar content in canned vegetables, they're very high, and people don't realize that. So,
Okay,
raw, then frozen, canned. Please.
Well, we're on that. How about the fat-free, the skim?
Okay.
What are your thoughts?
Right.
What are your thoughts?
There was it was probably, I would say, close to 6 to 7 years ago, there was this, the whole fat-free thing came out. So people were eating fat-free cookies and thinking, okay, I'm doing better because I'm eating fat-free cookies. What products companies and corporations have to do is, fat is where the flavor is. So if you're going to take fat out, if you're going to want anybody to eat your product, you have to replace that flavor by putting something in. So what the companies did with this whole fat-free phase was they were taking the fat out, but they were replacing it with sugar and sodium. So huge mistake. Because now, on the flip side of the fat-free, we've gone into an addiction to sugar. Obesity and diabetes is an epidemic, and problems. So we're talking about natural whole foods. That's what we want to eat.
Right. Vitamins. How important is taking a multivitamin, vitamin C, in a day?
Yep. Eating whole foods naturally and getting as much as you can from your diet first through whole foods is always going to be the best route. There is a need for supplementation because we don't get what we need anymore from the foods that we eat. So if you're going to take a supplement for it, what I recommend is that you can get the capsule form or you can get the liquid forms. Liquid is what I recommend because your body doesn't have to do any work to break it down. A liquid form goes right into the blood system where it's absorbed.
Very cool. Well, do you suggest lots of color in your diet? Like is that a good little, like when you're thinking about, so keep your diet colorful. Thank you so much, Wendy. Thank you for all the new little tips. Have a good day. I hope we helped you out today. Thanks for watching.